day, viewers. You're welcome to Home Builders TV. Here we have the Youth Corner. My name is Mrs. Adeyemo Adeola, and with me to discuss a topic pertaining to the singles is
Oluwasesan Isaac.
You're welcome.
Thank you, ma'am.
Today we are looking at a topic: what is expected of youth during courtship? What are they expected to do when they are in courtship? Is it a period to gallivant? Is it a period to showcase themselves or to showcase their world? What are those things they are expected to do during courtship? Those are some of the things we are going to look at this corner. Sir, what is courtship?
Thank you, ma'am. Courtship is a period of time when two opposite individual, when I'm talking about opposite, I mean opposite sex, decide to come together to know each other in total, to know in and out with one aim. The major aim of courtship is unison, to come into unison, ability to come together as husband and wife. Mind you, it's a process. They are not husband and wife. Probably by the time we continue, we're going to be looking at some things that are meant to be done and not to be done. But a courtship is a process whereby two opposite sex come together to know each other, do one or two things together in view of the fact that they are coming together as husband and wife.
Thank you. Now from that which you have said, I want to ask, do you mean just any boy and any girl can just go into courtship? Or who are the people, the specific people meant to go into courtship?
Thank you. Courtship is different from boyfriend and girlfriend thing. I used to tell my students where I teach that marriage and courtship is meant for matured individuals. I told them that while I was in secondary school, I never knew anything called love. I never, let me use the term in quote, toasted. I never toasted any girl when I was in secondary school. But if you look at secondary school today, you see a GSS2 boy writing a love letter, and you tend to ask, what do you intend doing, even when she says yes? And that is a misconception we have. So when you talk about what we do during courtship, we'll talk about the fact that there are two people who are mature. That is the number one thing. Maturity. The man and the woman must be emotionally matured. The man and the woman must be financially matured. We try as much as possible to overlook these things. A man will tell you that at least I stay with my parents and they are not disturbing me. I think I can get married. No, you can't. You are still a boy when you are in your parents' house and you want to get married.
Even when you are around 30 years?
Even if you are 40 years and you are still staying with your parents, you are a matured boy. You are a matured boy. You are not fit for marriage. Marriage has to do with independence, ability to cut off from the initial source, who happen to be your parents, and stand on your own, even when you don't know what your family will eat tomorrow. Ability to think, struggle around, and fend for them. It has to do with a whole lot of maturity: physical maturity, financial maturity, emotional maturity, spiritual maturity, name it. So when we talk about courtship, and a whole lot is attached to it. So maturity is one major thing. And we should not forget the fact that this is a Christian channel, and we cannot overlook the issue or the fact that we are concentrating more on Christian youth. Another thing you consider is that ability to hear from God, ability to receive from God. So apart from maturity, you can be mature than be 30 years. You cannot just go out there and hook up with a girl, a lady, or hook up with a man just because age is passé. You still have to hear from God. Ability to listen. Who would God want me to marry? I remember when I wanted to get married, I asked God, who do you want me to marry? I asked that question, especially when I was in service. Who do you want me to marry? Thank God I did not mischoose. Thank God I did not even misfire.
Thank God you heard from God.
I heard from God. Glory be to God.
Wow. Singles, I believe you are listening. And I believe you are taking your turn in what we are looking at. Now the topic is, what should we do during courtship? I want to ask you this. Please, what are the wrong things we do while in courtship, so that our singles there will learn from it? What are those things they are doing during courtship that are wrong?
Thank you. You see, that question, I don't want to be biased in answering that question, because we have one God, the same yesterday, today, and forever. We cannot say because the olden days culture is different from today's culture. But I will just answer that question by saying that something that should not be done during courtship is what a man and a woman, tag husband and wife, are doing are not meant to be done during courtship. I've just broadened the whole thing and summarized into one. Whatever thing a man and a woman are meant to do in marriage is not meant to be done during courtship. So when we talk about sexual intercourse, when we talk about affection, now get me, I'm not saying that both of them should not like themselves. As a matter of fact, you can't like the person you can't marry the person you don't like. Yeah. But when the affection is too much and that you can't concentrate, Yoruba will say something that fine, is permitted. But when it is now getting to the fact that at the detriment of some other thing, then it should not. Number one thing to do during courtship is ability to know each other. Mm-hmm. You are not going into a man's house as stranger, and you are not marrying a stranger. So the very first thing you do in courtship is know who you want to marry. But there is a clause. Stay with human being for 10 years. You might not know the 100% of that man. Is never possible. But the little you can know, ability to just adjust, know who this person is, know his temperament. Okay, what are his likes and his dislikes? What are those norms what are his values? What does he like? So you try to know who you want to marry. Mm-hmm. Another thing you try to do during courtship is that you know your families. It's not possible that it is during the wedding, the family of the man will just be knowing the family of the woman. No. So the both families tend to know each other in the course of courtship. Another thing you do during courtship is that courtship is a period whereby you sit down together. I tag it as a strategic period. Strategic period in the sense that you are going into an unknown future. You have to strategize. How do we do it? You just don't see army going around, soldiers going to the battlefront. There are some people at the back of the scene trying to strategize. This is the time you launch. They will be sleeping at this time. This is the time you do this. This is the time you do this. So it's a time whereby you strategize. How many children do we want to have? You can't just sit down together and get married. The first one came, the second one, and before you look at 12 years, you have given back to 12 children. Wow. Is it a football team? No. You strategize. How many children do we want to have? You strategize. Is the man going into full-time ministry? Those are the things that you are meant to talk very well before you enter a relationship. The man will tell you that God has called me, but you don't discuss that during courtship, then you are in for it when you get married. You talk about how you want to run your financial well-being in the house. So all these things are meant to be discussed. It's a period whereby you strategize a lot and a lot. Thank you.
Thank you. I've had cases whereby they will say after marriage, they discover they are from the same family. Could it be because they didn't do the right thing during courtship?
Obviously, when we have cases whereby different people coming together, getting married, and they find out that they are from the same place, is because they have failed in their assignments. They have failed in their assignments. I remember when I was to get married, I won't use the word chemistry. Let me use, somebody was sent to investigate into my family. I was shocked when they dug up facts and history about my family. Wow. I won't blame them. It's right. I met one of my cousins long time ago, and I was wondering. I met her on Facebook, and I never met her in my life. She happened to be the daughter of my cousin who got married when I was less 8 years and traveled abroad. So I'm talking about over 30 years ago, and me seeing her, I just felt that, oh, this is a friend, let me eye her, not knowing that she is my cousin. Let's assume I wasn't married, and I thought, this lady is fine. We could start a relationship from there. And who knows, maybe the mother must have changed name. Let's start a relationship and we'll get married, and eventually they start digging up fact. So ability not to do one's own work assignment could lead to that.
Thank you. Now I want to ask the last question. Should all courtship lead to marriage? Or let me put it, can all courtship lead to marriage?
All courtship cannot lead to marriage.
Why?
It is always better sometimes when a courtship is broken than a home to be broken. When some things could not work together, it is better you part way. I know of a young man, a very, very young man, who happened to be in a relationship with a woman, a lady, and in the process they get to understand that they are of the same genotype.
Oh,
it can't work. It was so painful, but they had to disengage. They just have to break up. So when in the process of courtship you are trying to dig into the opposite, either past, either family, either health-wise, and you discover that there's some things. I remember when I went to the doctor in my GSS3 and a test was done, the doctor told my aunt that took me that this boy is an AS. Tell him, warn him very well. He should not grow up and say that love is blind and say that he wants to marry an AS. Prevention is better than cure. So the way prevention is better than cure in all facets of life is the same way that prevention is better in courtship. It's better you break it when you know that you can't cope. A man is from a Muslim background and you are not sure of his salvation, but because of love or because of money you want to get married to him, I beseech you, you cut it off. A man does not appreciate your parents, does not have value for parents or family, and you do, and you have talked about these things and you can't cope. It's better you break it up. Your genital is not working together and you think that you want to fate it. There are a lot of people that have tried to fate it. Fating is blind fating. I call it blind fating. You are an AS and you want to marry somebody who is a SS or even AS. It's blind faith. If God specifically has not told you to do that, don't allow love to mislead you. So not all courtship could lead to marriage.
Wow, thank you. Viewers, I believe you've learned, especially our singles. You've taken in, you've digested one or two things. If actually you have done that, meet us again in another series. Thank you and God bless.